Hi everybody, it's the Film Squid. Once upon a time, some guy got a great idea. If I move pictures one after the other fast enough, I can trick people into think it's moving. And thus, cartoons were born. Animation. Cartoons have been around forever, dumbass. I meant animated cartoons. Whatever. You probably don't think about it a lot, because you're probably some dumb idiot who doesn't care about cartoons. But there weren't a lot of them before there was TV and films and things that existed. But there were still some kinds. One of the earliest examples of animation is pretty obvious. You might have already guessed it. It's a flipbook. This thing. You flip the pages, and when you look, it's like it's moving. It's pretty much the simplest principle of animation. Because that's what it is. Tricking you into seeing motion, using something in your brain called persistent vision. Some pretentious douchebags call flipbooks kineographs, because everything has to have a complicated name for some reason. In Germany, they're called something that makes even way more sense than a kineograph or flipbook. It's a Daumenkino. Whatever. That probably sounds like gibberish to you, who's probably not German, but if you are, congratulations. You know what it means. It's thumb camera. It means thumb camera. It's great. The guy who got the great idea I mentioned earlier actually has a name. Wow, we actually know who he is. Incredible. In 1868, a guy named John Barnes Linnet said, "I'm gonna invent the flipbook." And he did. Congrats. This wasn't the first example of animation, though. It used to be that instead of flipping pages, you'd have to make a big circle with pictures on it, and if you stared at the same spot, it would look like it's moving. But obviously the flipbook was better. You'd need a stupidly big wheel if you wanted to make anything long with one of those circly things. The circle was called, wow, holy I thought kineograph was pretentious. Get what the circle's called. It's a Peniskissascope. So anyways, in 1894, some even smarter guy in Germany said, "Hey, I'm sick of flipping pages manually. I'm going to invent a machine that does it for me." And so the mutoscope was born. It was like the first animated movies, except one person could only watch at a time, and it was usually short, and it had no sound. You'd stick in a couple of cents into a machine and see a show. There were probably dirty ones. Later on, people made better ones, like Thomas Edison, who thought his was so great he called it the kinetoscope. Jesus Christ with the scopes. Tommy Boy also had a great idea. Instead of getting the pictures one by one, he invented a kinetograph, which was one of the very first types of video cameras, which caught frames quickly. We don't care about that because that's not animation anymore. A few years earlier, 1892 in France, while Germany was farting around with their dirty pictures and mutoscopes, a science guy named Raynaud put the first ever animation in an actual theater. It was called Poivre Perot, and he made it by drawing stuff on the actual film strip instead of photographs like they did later. The upside to this was that it was in color. Amazing. The problem was it was super painstaking and sort of shitty. But as the century turned, so did film and animation.